I cannot believe today is our 100th episode, but more so, I can't believe that I have had that much to say since launching the podcast back in February 2024. 100 episodes is no easy feat, and I'm celebrating because doing something like this really does require consistency, commitment, and trying something new, even though fear was there. And that's kind of the overarching theme in today's episode, because now more than ever, I believe that the things that truly move the needle when it comes to our health, especially over 40, require consistency, commitment, and doing things that may feel uncomfortable, but are needed to create the very change that we say we want. When I launched this podcast, it did not come from a place of confidence. No. It came from a place of feeling called to say things that weren't really being said in this hormone space, if you will. And that also meant being willing to figure things out along the way. There were plenty of moments where I questioned whether this was worth my time, whether anybody was even listening, and whether I should have more trending or algorithm friendly topics. But what I've learned, both in business and in health, is that chasing trends often pulls you away from what's truly meaningful. This podcast has been a creative outlet for me. It's helped me to get more confident in what I believe in, and it's really forced me to get really honest with how I want to move forward in this health and wellness space. So today, I want to share some truths about health after 40 that I wish more women knew. This isn't about supplements or the perfect protocol. My hope is that it gives you perspective and helps you to zoom out on your life and really start to see where you're getting distracted, what truly matters, and what it really means to be successful in health, business, relationships, and your life. So, quick backstory. I became a health coach over 13 years ago after working in the publishing world for about a decade. I had been struggling with my health for years, and in my 20s, shit really hit the fan. That is when I started to dig deeper, learn everything I could about women's health and hormones. I advocated for myself. I started to heal and decided to change careers because I felt so passionate about this work. When I started over 13 years ago, I learned about the different factors that contribute to health, well beyond diet and exercise. Things like the work that you do, your relationships, movement, rest, joy, connection, spirituality, and so on. But over the years, as I dug deeper into the functional health or functional medicine space, I began to focus more on testing and protocols and supplements. And I believed very strongly in these tools. And don't get me wrong, those things matter. We still use them intentionally in practice, and I believe they have a place. But what I've really learned through my own life, my own health, and working with hundreds of women is that those things are not the center of the work. Yet the online space especially will have you believing that the next test, supplement, or intense protocol is what will heal you or get you the results you want. But what women want, and what I want myself more than anything, is to be heard, to feel validated and supported, to feel happy most days, good in their bodies, and fulfilled in their work and relationships. In the last 5 years or so, especially, I see women more overwhelmed than ever, taking endless supplements that they don't really need, spending thousands of dollars on fancy testing that isn't really clinically relevant, and still feeling lousy. And again, while certain testing, I've mentioned blood work and mineral testing here many times, supplements and hormone therapy, they'll have a time and place. Those things alone aren't going to magically change your health or life without doing the deeper work. So before I get into the truths that I've come to realize, what I see in midlife is this. Women aren't just dealing with hormonal shifts. They're dealing with the weight of decades. Decades of saying yes when they wanted to say no. Decades of being the reliable one, or in my case, the strong one. Decades of putting themselves last, shaping themselves around relationships, careers, family expectations, and roles that they never stopped to question. Midlife symptoms show up and they are loud, whether it's anxiety, relentless fatigue, sleepless nights, weight changes, low desire, body pain, or even digestive issues. It's very tempting to think the answer is one more test, one more supplement, or one more thing to optimize. But what I've learned is that symptoms are often less about what's wrong with your body and more about what you've been ignoring for years. A depleted body, overextending yourself, thinking that you're never good enough, and never experiencing true self-care. Now, I'm not saying that if you finally start setting boundaries, go get a new job, or leave your husband, that all your ailments will go away. No, I'm a realist and firmly believe that we need physiological support as well. Hello, I'm on all the HRT, right? And you'd have to pry it out of my hands. That is how much it has helped me. But we can't keep telling ourselves that true health and happiness is found in a bottle, some fancy test, or even an estradiol patch. So here's what I know now. As a 43-year-old woman who still has a lot to learn, but also after 13 years of doing this work and decades of personal experience. The first one is midlife health does not require more discipline or pushing harder. It requires intention, discernment, and long-term thinking about how you want to age and how you want to feel. The second one is your relationships affect your health more than you think. Chronic resentment, people pleasing, staying in draining dynamics. That emotional stress doesn't just stay emotional. It often manifests as physical symptoms. A good book to read about that is called The Body Keeps the Score. I will link to it in the show notes. Number 3, pleasure, intimacy, and desire are not over after 40. For many women, these things get even better when the body is supported. You learn to slow down and receive, and your needs are no longer ignored. This chapter can actually be deeply satisfying. Number 4, you can't out-supplement chronic depletion. No supplement stack fixes undereating, chronic stress, overfunctioning, or burnout. Supplements are meant to support a foundation, not replace it. Number 5, labs, tests, scales, and trackers are tools. They offer context, not certainty. They guide decisions, but they don't heal you. For many women, more data creates more anxiety and less trust in their body. How you feel, how your body responds over time, and how your symptoms change matters just as much as what's on paper or some tracking device. Number 6, your intuition is the best compass. When you sit quietly and listen to your body, you'll know what you need. Usually it's more sleep, more water, more food, more movement, or more connection. Number 7, your health impacts everything. Your relationships, your work, your overall happiness. So you simply must advocate for yourself. And that means outgrowing providers if necessary, changing your approach, and adjusting expectations that no longer fit this season of life. Number 8, hormone shifts don't just change your periods, sleep, and mood. They impact your nervous system, your tolerance for stress, and emotional resilience. But with the right emotional and physiological support, simplifying your health regimen and focusing on what actually matters for you, you can feel calm and happy most days. I firmly believe that, and I am living proof of it. Number 9, feeling good again isn't just possible. It may even surprise you. Your body may not look like it did in your 20s or 30s, but you may feel stronger and more confident than ever in this phase of life. Lastly, number 10, health foundations really matter in midlife. We're being pulled in many different directions. Maybe you're raising kids, or in my case, a demanding pet, aging parents, and we're taking care of ourselves. We really do need to learn how to cut out the noise, the distractions, and prioritize the things that actually move the needle, like nourishing yourself with real food every day, hydrating with clean water, moving your body often, prioritizing rest and fun, doing work that feels good to you, and connecting with people that you love. I cannot emphasize this enough. We spend our lives focusing on things that really don't matter because some expert told us to. And I've lived this myself. I have overworked, overfunctioned. I have built businesses. I've chased goals. I have pushed through exhaustion, focused on revenue, and ignored my own needs because that's what felt responsible and productive. And I blamed my hormones for feeling anxious, disconnected, with full body pain and exhaustion. And yes, hormone therapy and supporting my thyroid absolutely helped me. I'm very open about that. But HRT and thyroid meds didn't teach me how to slow down, how to rest without guilt, how to say no, create healthy boundaries, communicate my needs, notice where I was feeling disconnected, the quality of my relationships, the pace that I was living, or how to stop constantly proving myself. All of that came from paying attention to what my life was asking of me. I've even shared in previous episodes how Mike and I went through a rough patch, but we didn't heal our connection, our relationship, and intimacy with supplements or HRT alone. Look, hormones supported us, absolutely. We have both seen incredible improvements with our HRT, but respectful communication, better boundaries, honesty, and presence is what changed our relationship. When you ignore the resentments you have, when you don't communicate your needs, when you stuff down emotions, and when you live in constant work mode, your body's going to carry that. It shows up as inflammation, pain, gut issues, fatigue, insomnia, low libido, low mood, and anxiety. And everything that I'm sharing today is being reflected in my work with clients. The perimenopause method has evolved a lot over the years. The version of the program that I created years ago reflected who I was then. Highly driven, very focused on fixing and optimizing, lots of testing and supplement protocols. But the woman that I am now and the women that I work with now need something different. They need space to talk, perspective, guidance that cuts through all the noise. They need reassurance that what they're feeling makes sense in the context of their life, not just what their labs say. And yes, again, we utilize some testing. We recommend targeted supplements when it makes sense, and we educate on hormone therapy when the time is right. But these are all tools, not the work itself. The work is learning how to set boundaries without explaining yourself, saying no without guilt, slowing down without feeling lazy, making time for rest, pleasure, and creativity in your life, improving relationships through honesty, and no longer outsourcing your intuition to data and devices. That's the part that actually changes how a woman feels in her body. So before you ask, what supplement should I take? Should I buy this test? Which health tracker should I get? Should I take collagen or creatine? Is this peptide better than that one? They're not what truly moves the needle when it comes to your happiness, the quality of your relationships, your sense of fulfillment, and peace in your body. Instead, consider that you may be fixating on these surface level things because you're resisting the deeper work. It's much easier to change a supplement than to admit, I'm not eating enough real nourishing foods. My relationship doesn't feel good anymore. My job drains the life out of me. I've been overgiving for decades. I keep beating myself up for not being perfect. I don't know who I am outside of taking care of everybody else. I crave more joy, pleasure, and freedom, but I don't know how to create it. Midlife has a way of turning the volume up on all of this. The body starts whispering, and then it starts shouting. And that's when symptoms manifest physically. And you can't diet, biohack, supplement, or optimize your way out of those things. Trust me, I've tried. We can talk all day about estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, thyroid, and all of it matters. It's why I do the work that I do. But your nervous system and your emotional safety matter just as much, if not more. Perimenopause or menopause, depending on where you are in your journey, isn't just a problem to fix. It's a transition that asks for self-reflection, honesty, and more self-care than you've ever given yourself before. And when I say honesty, I mean getting really honest about what you're currently tolerating, what you're desiring, where you feel discontent. The real work of midlife isn't necessarily more data, testing, or supplements. It's more self-trust, boundaries, rest, nourishing your body with good food and movement, less people-pleasing or living in fear of what others think of you. And the best part, when a woman finally starts listening to herself, the labs tend to improve, hormone therapy tends to respond better, and your body feels safer. Not because you found the perfect product, tool, or provider, but because you stopped abandoning yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing with other women. And to celebrate our 100th episode, we're giving away a free perimenopause clarity session. We also added a limited time opportunity to work with my team if you're not quite ready for the perimenopause method yet. Check out the show notes for all the details. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be resurfacing some of the most important conversations that I've had on this show. Episodes that remain incredibly relevant for midlife hormones, energy, metabolism, and stress physiology. There's a lot of noise in the health space, and some of these earlier discussions cut straight to the foundations that truly matter. If you're newer to the podcast, this will give you a chance to catch some of the core ideas that shape how I think about women's health. And if this episode resonated with you, please do share it with the woman that you care about. Until next time. Before you go, I want to mention something that may be helpful for some of you listening. If you've been dealing with low energy, mood changes, sleep issues, or stubborn weight in midlife, but you're not looking for a full program, I've created something really special for you. My Midlife Energy, Mood, and Metabolism Deep Dive is designed to help uncover the physiological patterns that often sit underneath those frustrating symptoms without committing to a multi-month container. You'll get an HTMA, hair tissue mineral analysis, a personalized plan, and private session so that you can stop guessing, make smarter decisions, and finally start to feel good. If you'd like more details, you can find everything in the show notes. The information provided is for educational and informational purposes only. I am not, nor do I act as a doctor or any other medical professional. I am not providing healthcare, medical services, or attempting to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any physical, mental, or emotional disease or condition. The information shared is not intended to be a substitute for the professional medical advice provided by your own medical or mental health provider.